Well, good morning, and good morning, boys and girls. 68 degrees, some light rain on this Friday. Welcome into the Power Hour here on Planet Radio 106.7. We are live on the radio. We are live on our website, listentotheplanet.com. You can stream audio there anytime. You can also download our Listen to the Planet app, and you can listen that way too. Just go to your app store, search Listen to the Planet, and we are there. And then what else we got? You can listen on Odyssey. You can listen on iHeart. You can listen on TuneIn Radio. You can also listen on Alexa as well. With Alexa, you have to first enable the online skill. So you say, Alexa, enable the Planet online skill. Then you say, Alexa, play the Planet online. And then we are there. Got a special guest with us this morning. Going to get to her in just a couple minutes. I want to remind you about a few station things. One is our weekend. We're kind of celebrating moms and celebrating females this weekend since it's Mother's Day. We're calling it a Female Domination Weekend, and it's brought to you by Acadiana. They're located on Salval Road in Youngsville. They are female-owned, which if you know about Incophilia, you know that. And we're saluting the women that rock here on Planet Radio. So you're going to get more female-oriented bands and artists tomorrow and again on Sunday. And then also Incophilia, they are honoring moms too. They're doing Moms That Rock, and you get 25% off jewelry and merchandise on Sunday over at Incophilia. So don't forget about that. Also, don't forget about our backyard crawfish boil number 2, brought to you by Edwards Seafood House, brought to you by Papa D's Party Rentals, and brought to you by LDD Concepts. We gave away our first one, and last Sunday we had that with Amy. And in a couple weeks, maybe it could be you. Now, on Thursday, we're going to draw our winner. So you still have some time between now and Thursday to get into the drawing at listentotheplanet.com. It's a backyard crawfish boil for up to 25 people. So we supply the crawfish from Edwards Seafood House. We got the trays and all that stuff. We are also going to bring the soft drinks. We're going to bring some koozies from LDD Concepts, and from Papa D's Party Rentals, we're going to bring an inflatable for the kids to have some fun. So enter now at listentotheplanet.com. Also on the website, we still have tickets for Raging Cajuns baseball. The final series against Arkansas State is May 15th, 16th, and 17th. So enter now for that at listentotheplanet.com too. Also, Lunch with Logan is there over at Préjean's. You can register at the website for that as well. What else do we have this morning? A quick shout out to our sponsors. Got to say thanks to Motor City. Also, thanks to Mendez's Seafood Bar and Grill, Louisiana Sewer Solutions, Acadiana Tire, also Votro's Mini Mart, and Acadiana Cars and Bentelli Golf Cart. Big shout out to our sponsors. And we're coming to you live from the Logic Refrigeration and AC Services studio here in my hometown of Church Point. But it is 8:06, and we're going to bring in our guest this morning from Faith House. Can I call you Chris?
Chris, perfect.
Is that okay, or is it officially it's Kristen, right?
It's Kristen, but people do call me by Chris.
Well, okay, so let me segue a bit here. Our question of the day has to do with what your mom used to call you back in the day. So if I call you Chris, kind of like me, it's Christopher. But then people call me Chris. I don't want to call you Kristen, and then you're gonna look around like, wait, why is he calling me that? So is Chris okay?
Chris is perfect because yes, like you mentioned, if I hear Kristen, it's not good.
Do you want to answer the question of the day?
Sure.
Okay, so the question of the day, before we jump into our conversation, it's this. I'm going to put you on the spot. The only time I'm going to put you on the spot this morning. And it's a very easy question. Which was worse, when your mom called by your first and middle name or the silent stare?
Ooh, both were not good for me. But if I was called by Kristen Elaine, it was trouble. But I was also called by a nickname when I messed up, and it was very funny. It was Mama.
Okay.
Come here, Mama. So it was definitely something that I did not want to hear.
No, yeah, you knew. It's like our moms, our dads, everybody like had that one thing it was almost like that attention getter, right?
Oh, yeah. And listen, they got my attention for sure.
But let's talk about Faith House. obviously we're hearing a lot about domestic violence. There's some tragedies happening, and we're hearing a lot about it right now. But maybe for some that don't know about Faith House, don't understand what Faith House does, can you give us an explanation?
Absolutely. So Faith House is a crisis center for people who are experiencing abuse or domestic violence, whether it's in the relationship or the home. So, of course, we do have an emergency shelter for people who need to flee in an emergency. We also have non-residential programs, and we cover 7 parishes. A lot of people don't realize how many parishes we do cover. So like I mentioned, we have our emergency shelter. We have what we call FJC, which is our Family Justice Center, where it's a one-stop shop for a victim to go to if they need help with protective orders, if they need help with any of our partnering agencies that we have on by, so that way they don't have to go everywhere to help with the resources and the services they need, non-residential. We do have our permanent supportive housing program. So this helps people or families who need homes. We do have a certain amount of apartments we can help them with rent on. We did have a ribbon cutting for one of our new shelters that's coming out in Avoyles Parish. So that'll help with overflow because, of course, 7 parishes for one emergency shelter. You can imagine how full we are at all times, really. So,
And that was going to be a question, is obviously y'all serve the area.
of course.
But with the main location in Lafayette, how are y'all making sure y'all are able to get to as many females in need, right, in the area? And I guess Avoyles is going to help.
So, of course, it's a much bigger facility than what we have now, and that'll help with, of course, overflow. But at any point in time, if we do not have space, we do work with different agencies and other domestic violence centers to see if we can get those families in safely, and if need be, we'll find a safe spot for them. And help them through whatever. I've been with Faith House for quite a while now, and I mean, we've put families sometimes in our office if needed. So we definitely try to make sure we help these families in need.
And this is a confidential.
Absolutely.
Is it facility? What's the right confidential? What's the right word I'm looking for?
So
here?
we provide free confidential services as a whole. So whether we get a crisis call, whether we do some non-residential work, whether they stay in the shelter, everything is completely confidential. Even if, someone's life is lost, we still are binded by that confidentiality. It's something that we can make sure a survivor knows because it's very embarrassing. It's not safe for anyone else to know that they're receiving our services. So we're very strict on confidentiality.
It is 8:11 here inside the Power Hour, Planet Radio 106.7. Hanging with Chris from Faith House. We're going to talk about what they do, some of the things that they provide. We've been hearing a lot about domestic violence in the news over the past couple weeks or so. I mean, obviously, with the murder-suicide that happened last Saturday, the officer that was killed by friendly fire, that was a domestic violence. There was another couple calls recently. There was something in North Louisiana, I believe another murder-suicide, kind of like that. And obviously, I'm being completely honest and transparent with you. Like some of this is tough to talk about, Chris. Absolutely. I might not have the right questions, and if I don't, please correct me.
Oh, I will.
But obviously I want to say we've been hearing a lot about it. Why is that? And that's not the right way to put it. But how do we battle hearing about these things? Is it prevention? Like, is that the right way to fight this? Is it prevention? Is it getting the word out more? Is it if someone's in trouble, they know that Faith House is a place that they can go? Is that the right way to fight this?
Absolutely, Chris. I'm glad you mentioned that. Prevention is wonderful for any type of program, but when it comes to domestic violence, letting family members, letting friends, survivors know that, hey, these are the services out there. If you are ever experiencing anything like this, know that Faith House can help, whether it's emotional abuse, physical abuse. It doesn't have to get to the physical point for you to receive services from us. And we also go into schools. We have a public education program. We feel like it helps teenagers and adolescents know that we have these available services for them. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Prevention all through the year is great. And of course, we go through those unfortunate things in the news and the tragedies, and it's horrible. And unfortunately, Faith House knows that those things exist, and we want to try to help in any way possible, whether it's helping the family members, helping friends who are experiencing it. Any information. I can talk for days on prevention and services we provide.
And you talked about help. Now, obviously, if there's some tragedies, like we had here recently, and y'all are there to pretty much help anyone that's affected by these tragedies, right? Maybe it's a parent of someone who has lost to domestic violence. They're not sure where to go, what to do. I mean, that's a situation that, I mean, it's unfathomable. Like you don't
Right.
it's unthinkable, right? And if you're in that situation, you might be looking for help. You don't know where to go, and that's something that y'all help out with too.
Right, absolutely. I mean, whenever you have something like that happen in your family, you want to maybe think, oh, I should have known, or I didn't think that could ever happen to my child
Right.
or my mother, and know that those questions are okay, to ask us. We can help with those situations. Domestic violence is truly hard to understand. So knowing the signs of abusive behavior, knowing that we are there, knowing that there's certain ways to help a survivor. Because the first thing you need to do is believe them when they do reach out to you. Believe them, tell them they didn't deserve it, because a lot of survivors think that they might have deserved it because they didn't do something right. And we want to let them know, listen, this is not okay, and you don't deserve this. And also, too, what's very important is to let them make their own decisions. Because it's very easy for us to all say, you need to leave this person. They're not right for you. But when you say, listen, I know when the time is right, you will reach out to me. Faith House is here too. Reach out to them when you're ready, because they know how dangerous their situation is. It's very, very dangerous. It's the most dangerous time is when they leave the actual relationship. So being forced into it is difficult for them. So,
And that was... again, there's some of these questions I don't know how to ask, but when I do these interviews like this, right, and I do, like we did an interview with someone about suicide prevention, and look, if I can just help one person this morning, I'm fine with it, right? It's not the best conversation to have. We normally have a lot of fun here inside the Power Hour, and that's what I'm about. We're laughing, telling some silly stories, but today it's not that. I felt like we needed to have this conversation, but like for some, when should they seek help, right? Like, I mean, obviously you might be in a relationship. It might be verbal abuse. It might be physical abuse. For someone who's experiencing this, like, is that a dumb question? When should they seek help? When do y'all see that? What should they do?
So the thing about when they should seek help is when they feel that something's just not right. That's what I would say, because the earlier you notice the signs, the earlier you get help, the better for the outcome of leaving the situation. But what I can say is, unfortunately, Chris, I am a teen survivor, and some of those things that I know now, I wish I would have known then. One of the first things that I always say is, when the jealousy starts. When the jealousy starts, please know that that is not love. When somebody tells you, oh, I'm jealous, I don't want you to wear that, or I'm feeling this way, I don't want you to do this. Jealousy is a big deal. And when the jealousy starts, then comes the isolation, then the name calling, and of course, here comes the physical abuse. Don't wait for that physical abuse to happen if you can help it. I waited way too long, and I wish I wouldn't have, but we also need to build that resilience up and know that, listen, set my boundaries, notice those signs of abusive behavior, but most definitely do not wait until it gets physical. And if it does get physical, call for help, reach out to a family member, because if they've already hit you, it's only going to be a cycle. They're going to be sorry for a couple weeks. We call that the honeymoon stage. After that, the emotional abuse starts coming back. That name calling comes back, the jealousy, the isolation, and then once again, here comes physical. So, yeah.
And I'm sure for someone in that situation, it's tough, right? Because they think, oh, if I go and I talk to somebody, or if I seek help, they think it's going to get worse, right? If he finds out that she went to Faith House or wherever else, and she's seeking help, man, it's really going to happen now, right? And that mentally for that person, they're probably thinking that. Now, switching gears a little bit, we talked about seeking help. If you're a female and you're in abuse, but what about for families? Like for families that might have a daughter in this situation, maybe for some, they're totally blindsided by what happened. If it ends in a tragedy, they may be blindsided why it happened. What are some of the signs that family members can look for?
So, like I mentioned, the jealousy part, especially when the partner's in front of family members. Notice the way they act, they interact with each other. Of course, showing signs of maybe covering up bruises. But notice definitely, too, if your child or your family member meets someone, is in a relationship with someone, and you don't see them as often as you'd like. Not necessarily saying they're being abused, but it's something to look into, because sometimes they get isolated, not going to Sunday dinners or Sunday lunches with family members anymore, very, very much, not returning calls back, always being busy. Those are some things to look for. But another big thing to look for is, fast involvement. If your family member recently got in a relationship and next thing you know, they're getting married and it's only been a short period of time, or they're moving in with each other very quickly. Not saying it is domestic violence, but it's something to look into. Parents can, just ask, hey, is everything okay? I feel like this is kind of moving fast. And of course, parents will say that oftentimes, but not putting into the perspective of it could be domestic violence or abusive behavior. So those are just a few things to look for besides the actual physical abuse. And if there's children involved, listen to those babies. If there's children involved and they're witnessing the abuse, hearing the abuse, they will talk to family members and not even know they're doing it. So listen to those sweet babies who sometimes say, Mom and Dad were fighting last night, or whatever. Just pay attention to those things, and it helps to connect with the survivor and ask if everything's okay. Or I've noticed that you've been different lately. You want to talk about it. Just making sure they feel safe talking with you on it. Not necessarily saying, I know something's not right. You need to break up with this person. Because like I mentioned, let them make their own decision. They are the experts in their own life. They know how dangerous the situation is.
And it's, again, just like someone who may be experiencing abuse, it's tough for them to go and ask for help, right?
Absolutely.
And get out of that relationship.
Absolutely.
Same thing on the family side. That's also another tough conversation to have as well, right? It's very tough. We're here talking with, I'm going to call her Kristen from Faith House. Thanks for coming this morning here inside the Power Hour. It is 8:22. Another question I had for you is this all female oriented? Is it all females?
It's not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. So we do provide services to anyone who is experiencing domestic violence, who is experiencing abuse in their relationship. And like you mentioned, anyone who's dealing with a family member, they can always call us for questions. But we do provide services to anyone in need of help.
Yeah. And it could be teenage, male, female, married, non-married, whatever it is. So what should someone do? What's the process for someone that, hey, I need to step out of this. I need to get some help. I need to seek some help. What does someone do?
So what they can do is call our crisis line. There's a Louisiana crisis line for domestic violence. It's almost like a 911 call center for domestic violence victims. And that number is 1-888-411-1333.
Okay. And confidential.
Confidential.
Right.
Everything's confidential. We are 24 hours a day. We have advocates ready to answer those calls. There is, a lethality assessment. So we kind of connect with them to figure out exactly what it is they need for their safety. We do a lot of safety planning, a lot of those questions where can you run to the neighbor's house if this is happening? Do you have some money stashed somewhere for you to get safe? So we do a lot of safety planning and encouragement and empowerment, of course.
And also, if they come to Faith House, you do have a place for them to stay there, correct?
Absolutely.
Like that's what it's about. That's also confidential.
Right.
When you have people there, the public, your spouse, they don't know that you are there. It is a confidential shelter for you to get out of that relationship.
Absolutely. Like I mentioned to you, Chris, not only our shelter, but any programs. Even if it's a phone call, even if it's a family or relative calling for information, that is still very much confidential. And it's something we've learned through the years too. If we have someone's family inside of our shelter and the parents are worried, they may try to call our lines. Without a code number, we will not give any kind of information. I'm sorry, we have no one here by that name. And it's to protect them. And I know sometimes relatives just want to know if they're safe.
Yeah.
And we still have to say, I'm sorry, we can't disclose that information. And like I mentioned to you, even if someone lost their lives and they want to know information, we cannot give that out. Everything is confidential that we do.
What are some stats? Like, do you have some numbers to share with us? How do we rank here in Acadiana or Louisiana when it comes to domestic violence?
So unfortunately, Chris, we are fifth in the nation. Louisiana is fifth in the nation due to domestic violence fatalities. Since I want to say 1997, we've been first, second. So we've been on the top 5 for this long. It is a state where it's definitely a problem, definitely an issue. And the 7 parishes we cover, we try our very best to help anyone in need. And the community coming together with that prevention, with knowing the signs of abusive behavior, knowing the resources, that'll help us. So it is unfortunate. That's where it's at. Another stat is 1 in 4. 1 in 4 individuals will be physically harmed. And it's really sad, those numbers. And another stat I want to give you, Chris, is most of the time it takes a survivor 7 times before they actually reach out and get the help they need. And a lot of people say, well, why 7 times? Why that many times does it take for them to get out? And unfortunately, there are things that come into it. The first thing is fear. Like I mentioned, when they leave that situation, it's the most dangerous time. So they go back because maybe the perpetrator is threatening them to go back, threatening them to drop the protective order. So there are laws to protect survivors with those things. But another thing besides fear is financial situation. If they've been with this person for a while, they've probably been financially abused as well. They have no one else to go to. They feel like they need to go back because of that. And lastly, maybe they love that person. And is it wrong for us to love someone to think they can get better? So when I hear that question of why doesn't she leave or why doesn't he leave? Why does it take that many times? And that's why. It's very scary.
Yeah. Now, the website, also, I'm here right now. It's faithhouseacadiana.com, has a lot of information. Like I see on the top, the navigation bar, like you can learn about the organization, intervention, education, involvement. The number is there. There's the 24/7 confidential hotline, which you mentioned, which is the 888-411-1333. The local number, 337-232-8954. But the website is a great place for you to get information and also get help. One thing I want to mention before we wrap up, Chris, we got Kristen with Faith House hanging out with us this morning. They are a domestic violence crisis center. Obviously, y'all need help, right?
Yes,
donations.
for sure.
What can someone do if they want to help Faith House?
So, like you mentioned, you can go to our website. There's forms to fill out, whether you want to volunteer, whether you want to give a donation, whether you want to put on a fundraiser for us. And there's also times where you can just call in. You can actually call the local number, get in contact with myself. My name's Kristen Butte. I'm the Director of Prevention and Development. So we can definitely come up with ideas on how the community can help out. We do have a Facebook page as well, Faith House Acadiana. On Facebook, if you see, you'll notice that we have upcoming events, we have upcoming projects, and we're always good for a good donation drive when it comes to paper products and anything you would need in a shelter.
And those are some of the things, right,
Yes.
in the shelter, the toiletries, paper products, those kind of things, because a lot of times when people show up, they don't have anything.
Nothing.
They need
Correct.
clothes, they need toothbrushes, they need toothpaste, they need pretty much anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, we usually have an updated immediate needs list.
Okay.
Because of the community members, we're able to keep it stocked. But every now and then we'll run out of baby wipes and toilet paper and diapers. So just be on the lookout for that and contact me if you want to help out in any way.
Awesome. Well, thank you for spending some time, Chris.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great. Again, a conversation that's tough to have. I wanted to have it. And again, if I help one person this morning, it's a success.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
it is. But faithhouseacadiana.com, go and check it out. And look, like we talked about earlier, Chris, let's have this conversation more, right?
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
that's one of the things. Like let's and it's one of those things where we hear about domestic violence, some tragedies, we want to talk about it. But let's talk about it when we're not hearing about those tragedies and get that prevention and get that information out there so maybe it doesn't happen again.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Awesome. Well, I'm here if you ever want to have the conversation again. Y'all have anything you need to get out into the public, we're here for it, and we'll help you out on Planet Radio.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, Chris. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. So